Coming up on this week's episode of SVG Motors Weekly. Okay, listen, don't worry about it. More people than you think are dealing with low credit scores. No credit is bad, lowers your score, and can oftentimes be worse than having bad credit. The banks don't know anything about it.
Hi, I'm Allison Hardy, and today on Tech Tips, we are going to be talking more about cold weather.
The 2019 Jeep Cherokee takes its authenticity and craftsmanship of the traditional Jeep design and enhances it for today's modern adventurer.
Need a car, need it bad, something better than what you had. Not sure what you want or where to go. Well, there's one place that you need to know. SVG is the place for me, where you get superior value guaranteed.
Okay, listen, don't worry about it. More people than you think are dealing with low credit scores. An estimated 70 million Americans today are battling with a low credit score. And as a matter of fact, almost every one of us at one point or another are going to fight with credit issues. Here's the great news. You can fix it. But first, let's find out what's driving that credit score down. Number one, if you've got some negative marks on your credit. Let's say you've gotten behind on a car payment, house payment, or maybe the IRS is coming after you because of some tax issues, or you've had medical bills. So negative marks on your credit will bring your score down. Secondly, high debt. You may be making your payments on time, but you owe a lot on your credit card. So your balances are high on those things. That will bring your score down. Also, and believe it or not, having no credit hurts your credit score. I know it shouldn't be that way, but that's the truth. No credit hurts your score, so you need to get out there and get some credit. And lastly, it can be a combination of a couple of these things. You may have high debt and also some negative marks on your credit. Here's the great news. We can do something about it, so let's get started on showing you how to repair your credit. Okay, so you fill out a credit application, you stick the paperwork out, and you hand it back to the guy who's looking at your credit, and he comes back with a credit score. Well, let me tell you something. It's not any individual who's looking at your credit, so don't worry about it, okay? This isn't somebody judging you. The reason your score comes out the way it is, it's being judged by a computer, okay? And it's the computer's best guess at the likelihood of you making your payment, so it's not always right. Okay? And it can be fixed. Here's the deal. Improve your credit report and your credit score will go up. It's really that simple. So let's get started on fixing your credit report, because that's not as difficult as you might think. The 2019 Jeep Cherokee takes its authenticity and craftsmanship of the traditional Jeep design and enhances it for today's modern adventurer. A front and rear design, improved LED headlamps and tail lamps, coupled with wheel designs and premium exterior convenience features, evolved Cherokee styling while holding true to its renowned roots. A state-of-the-art technology and expertly crafted interior bring to life the all-new Jeep Cherokee. Improved cargo space. Next generation Uconnect technology. Rich interior fabrics and leather trim touchpoints make the Cherokee aptly designed for comfort, adventure, and all things in between. Ready to perform no matter what the conditions, the Cherokee is as hungry for adventure as you are. So right out of the gate, you know, I'm 6'2", And for being a compact SUV, it's not that compact. I love the way the dash feels like it's set away from you. So I got plenty of knee space, lots of headroom here, and quite frankly, there's a lot of room behind me for somebody to sit. I just like the way the dash kind of swoops away from you, but it's close enough that I can adjust the navigation, the heated seats, cooled seats. It feels very solid. I just drove over those train tracks, and the suspension is tight, but yet smooth. It didn't rattle or jar me as we went over it. One thing about Jeep, it's ready to perform no matter what the conditions. For example, here you've got the auto, snow, sport, sand and mud, and rock. I mean, seriously, what other vehicle has that? Only Jeep. See, I love the way the dash kind of swoops around and the stitching is nice. And what's that? Wow, look at that. You got plenty of space, maybe for an ID or your cell phone. I like that. It's out of the way. Very nice. So this 3.2 liter V6 gets almost 25 miles to the gallon. Let's see if that compromises any acceleration. Wow, I like that. I mean, there's power when you need it. Excellent. I like that a lot. Just feels solid. What's amazing on these is you see these special leases, and the payments on some of these are really low, and it lends itself to think that this is a low-end, low-quality vehicle. It's not. I mean, this thing is well-designed, solid build quality, tons of features. I like this Cherokee a lot. So all the hubbub on these new Jeeps and the Chrysler products is the Uconnect screen. I really like this Uconnect. I've got the XM satellite radio. We can go to media, so I can upload devices through USB, auxiliary, or Bluetooth. The climate controls are all right there, and it's touch screen, so I can increase the temperature just like that. And the apps, this is what blows my mind. You got the travel link, heated driver's seats, ventilated seats, passenger vent, projection manager to project your cell phone onto the screen. I mean, they've thought of everything. The heated seats on your controls, on your seats, backup camera. Let's see what that looks like. Wow, impressive. It used to be you only saw the backup camera when you were backing up, but this is kind of a neat feature. Let's take a look at the navigation screen. I want to view the maps. It's already asking me, do you want instructions somewhere, or you just want to see I like to see the nav, but it's a very crisp picture, and it's a big screen. I mean, it's a big solid screen. One thing's really neat while you're driving, and they've thought of everything so that you don't have to be looking at your screen touching things. You can simply push this button and say, change the temperature in the cabin to 73 degrees.
Setting temperature to 73 degrees.
So there's so many different controls you can do with that voice command. I like that. Set your temperature, find the nearest restaurants, set up different phone calls. Things like that are just really cool. Hey, one thing's very cool. I love how all the buttons are right here on the steering wheel. But my favorite button is volume up, because I love my music. And it's right here behind the steering wheel. Just a cool car. Good music. Down in Africa. Move them up a couple years.
Who's there?
Keep your payment the same! New Chevy Cruze, under 16,000. 16,000. Where? Greenville or Urbana.
Move up a couple of years, and payment the same. Move up a couple of years, and payment the same. Move up a couple of years, and payment the same.
Here's what has to happen to start improving your credit score. You got to get started now, today, ahora, not mañana. You know what that means, don't you? It doesn't mean today. It's, well, we're going to get started right now. Because you know what's going to end up happening if you don't get started now? That green monster of procrastination is going to bite you right in the behind, and then they're going to tell you, oh, your credit score 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years from now. So we're not going to deal with that. We're going to get started right now. You got one life to live, and let's get this credit situation fixed now. And I'm going to help you do it. So listen, here's what you got to do. Number one, you got to go out and print your credit report. You got to go find it. So you can go online. There's several internet websites. Google credit reports. How do I look at my credit report? There's several websites out there. Get your credit report, and you should be able to get it at no cost. Okay, now, step one, get your credit report. Step two, you need to analyze your credit report. So here's what you need to do. Print it out, okay? And then set it all out in front of your coffee table right there in the kitchen. Get you a blue highlighter and a pink highlighter. I like to use the blue one for the good stuff, and then the pink one, you know, for the not so good stuff. But sit down. Now, it may be a little intimidating. When you look at it, you're going to say, oh my goodness, I can't read this. Just take your time. Oftentimes there's instructions on how to read the report, but it's really not that difficult. Just take your time, read through it, okay? Step three, write out a calendar, okay? When your payments are due, how much they're due, exactly what the process is, okay? But also take down all the information you have and who's saying what about you on your credit, okay? Because you're going to be able to see it. So-and-so says you were behind on the payment. Now here's the best part. Step four, you can dispute these things. The law allows you to dispute these marks on your credit, and it's up to them to prove it. And sometimes it's a little difficult to prove. Do you remember when you were a kid and your mom came up to you and she started blaming you for stealing the cookies out of the cookie jar, and it wasn't even you, it was your brother? It happens. Okay? So you've got to dispute that. And let me tell you something. Put the burden on those credit agencies to defend their position, okay? And it's going to be tough for them to prove it, but you got to be diligent, all right? So, step 5, repeat and rinse. Go back again, go after them and say, hey, listen, you've had 6 weeks ago, I asked you about this, I haven't heard back from you. Continue, write the letters. Send the disputes, okay? Step 6, you need to start to build your credit, okay? Now, some of you out there don't have a lot of credit, or you do and it's negative. Start small. You might go to your bank, okay? You're depositing your paychecks anyway. Deposit your check, even if it's $200, okay? And then ask the bank representative, say, I'd like to take out a credit card against my money that's in this bank account. So you're kind of borrowing against yourself. Believe it or not, you can do that. And you establish yourself more credit. Another way, you know, go to the gas station. You're paying for things anyway with cash. Get a little credit card. Apply for your, gas station credit card. And start to use this credit card. Even if it's a $70 balance, whatever it is, use it, pay it. Use it, pay it. You're going to have to be consistent, but you can do it. Fixing your credit is not that difficult. You can do it. It's simple. And another way, there are agencies out there that you can hire to help you do this. It costs money, but sometimes that's the way to go also. You can also stop in at any one of the SVG locations, and any one of the salespeople or the business managers will be more than happy to give you advice and help you read your credit bureau. So, let's get going. Now, there's some more information I want to share with you. Stay tuned.
Who's there?
It's Jeep Adventure Days. New Cherokee under 20,000. Ethan.
I'm Allison Hardy, and today on Tech Tips, we are going to be talking more about cold weather. Cold weather is rapidly approaching, and before you know it, snow is going to be on the ground. We covered some tips in a previous episode on cold weather, but now that we are actually getting into the season, here are a few more. The first tip we are going to go over is ice buildup. Ice buildup on your windows can cause unwanted delays in travel, but also can be very hazardous if not removed fully. Using a de-icing spray will melt the ice quickly and allow easy removal. You don't want to use your wiper blades to remove ice because it can damage your wiper blades. Another simple way keeping ice off your windshield is to place a piece of cardboard. You place the piece of cardboard on your windshield and then apply your windshield wipers onto the piece of cardboard. With an easy removal, you'll be ready to go on your trip with a clear windshield. Our next tip is about the type of tires you're using. If you drive a lot in slippery conditions, it may be a good idea to replace your regular tires with a set of dedicated winter tires. These tires are specifically designed for traction and slick roads. Winter tires have a shorter life than your regular tires, but the extra safety is worth a compromise. If this is something you're looking at getting done, bring it in to us and we'll help you out. Next, we are going to talk about letting your engine warm up. I know a lot of people during the winter months like to go out and start their car and warm it up because of the cold. But starting it and leaving it unattended is illegal here in Ohio. But starting your car and letting it idle for a few minutes is good for your car. If you have snow on your car, letting it warm up while you clean the snow off should be a sufficient enough time for the oil to warm up. Just remember not to leave your car unattended. Our last tip is an emergency kit. We covered in a previous episode items that should be in an emergency kit, and we are getting into the cold season where the emergency kits are more important. Having all those items with you at all times can be a lifesaver in an emergency situation. Nobody expects to be in that type of situation, but as we get closer to the holidays, people are traveling more frequently, so it's better to be prepared. These are once again just a few tips to help you during the cold months. Keeping these tips in mind helps you be a safer driver, and also puts you in a better position to help somebody else in need. This has been Allison Hardy on another episode of Tech Tips. Stay safe out there.
Right next to the negative credit listings on your credit bureau is high credit limits. It can sink your score just as much as negative credit or bad credit, so to speak. All right, so I want to talk a little bit about how this works, okay? When your credit limits are high, suppose you have a credit limit of $5,000 on your credit card. And if you owe $5,000, then you're at your limit, okay? Now, this computer system is a little weird, all right? So you got to be very careful. There are people out there who will tell you, hey, close down all your credit cards. Well, guess what? That can hurt you. Don't do that. Unless you have more than 4 credit cards and they're all zero balances, I don't suggest you close credit cards, okay? So here's what you need to do. You need to get your debt to limit ratio down. So let me explain. I need you to add up all of your limits, okay? So take how much debt you have on that credit card. So let's say you have a $5,000 credit card and you have a $2,500 balance. You're at a 50% ratio, debt to limit ratio. So what you need to do is add up how much you owe on all your credit cards and divide that by your balance that you're allowed to put on those credit cards, and you'll have a debt to limit ratio. And you need to concentrate on lowering that number. And believe it or not, that can skyrocket your score. So get started. Pay attention to your limits and your ratios, and your score will get better. Okay, credit cards are a beautiful thing, but guess what? They can be the demons of the world. Okay, so we're going to talk about a step-by-step process of wrangling those credit cards. Well, first let me say this. The ideal situation is for you to have 4, maybe 5 credit cards with zero balances. But we can't do that all at once. So here's how we get started. Number 1, you can call. Remember I said debt to limit ratios? Number one, you can call a credit card company and ask for a little bump in your limit, thus lowering your debt to limit ratio. Now careful, that can also lower your score a bit because they're going to take a look at credit, they're going to pull your credit, but that only drops it temporarily. Number two, pay down any cards that you have that are over the limit. That really looks bad on the credit. So if you're over your limit, close to your limit, get it down. Step three, start paying cards off one at a time, but don't close them. Step four, if you can't pay any more completely off, then pay as many of your credit cards below that 50% mark, okay? Get that debt to income ratio down, okay? You can do it. Step five, if you got the green, look, pay them all off, all right? You're better off having no debt on those things and your credit score will shoot way up. And lastly, pay all your cards off first. Then start closing your cards down, okay? But you know, here's a good tip. Don't close your oldest card, okay? Because it's on your credit history, and the credit machine, the credit computer, it really likes some of those credit cards that you've had for many, many years. Shows some consistency, all right? So credit cards, great thing, but you gotta manage them.
Who's there?
New Chevy Trax under $19,000. Greenville or Urbana.
Move them up a couple of years, paying the same.
Okay, now we got to get you in the credit game because guess what? No credit is bad, lowers your score, and can oftentimes be worse than having bad credit. The banks don't know anything about you, so we got to get you in the credit game. It's not difficult, okay? So here's what you do. Number one, go to the mall. Get you a little store credit card for a little amount. You know, go to the gas station. You know, get you a couple little credit cards. Okay, something to get you in the game. Number two, go to your bank, your credit union, whatever, where you deposit your paychecks. Now, talk to someone there and say, "I'd like to start a credit card against the money that's in my account." So it might only be $200, $300, $400, whatever you've got in your account that you can run a credit. Now it's not sexy, okay, but it's building your credit and you're establishing a relationship with that bank. Number three, another way is to get somebody who does have a lot of credit, a lot of good credit, and have them add you to one of their credit cards. They're not going to give you the card, but it will give you an instant boost in your credit score. Number four, another way is to get a parent, a friend, somebody to co-sign for you. This can shoot your credit score up, but be careful, okay? Because if you don't make your payments, you can really ruin a relationship because what you do hurts their credit also. So be careful with that. And lastly, don't overdo it. Don't run all over town getting credit cards everywhere, okay? Start slow, 3, 4, maybe 5 credit cards, and you'll be well on your way to being someone with credit. You know, the question that everybody always asks when they're looking at a car is, what about my phone hookups? I gotta charge my phone, I gotta do it. And Jeep has done a great job of putting it right here. You've got your USB, auxiliary ports, and even your 12 volt for additional powers if you need it. And then there's a deep little pocket here where you can set your cell phone in, wallet, or what have you. You know, one thing I love about this is sometimes you don't want to use the AC in the car and you like to use your air conditioning, but look at the size. I can't even reach the back of the sunroof. This thing is huge. But you literally, once you have the sunroof open, if your guests in the back seat want to get a real open feel, you can open that all the way back. Beautiful October day here in Eaton, Ohio. You know, one feature I had never tried out on this is the lane keep assist. So what it's supposed to do is as you approach the line, and there it is, That is wild. I can feel the steering wheel just ever so slightly push me back in as I approach the median there. Very cool. And I can see that as a safety feature. As you're driving, you know, the vehicle keeps you in your lane. Very nice. That coupled with the adaptive cruise, where the vehicle will actually maintain the speed of the vehicle in front of you. The vehicle in front of you slows down, this vehicle will slow down, and it adapts itself to the cruise control setting of the vehicle or the speed of the vehicle ahead of you. Very neat. Wow, this ride's really nice. And at 25 miles a gallon, you know, you can go for a long ways. It's impressive. For a V6, it's got plenty of horsepower, plenty of torque, but yet very economical. So there's a lot of room up here. I can't get over how much room I have. I'm very comfortable, but yet there's still a ton of room behind me. And believe it or not, those seats fold down, and there's plenty of room if you end up stopping by Walmart and buying a television or something. There's plenty of room in here when you open the lift gate with storage and the seats down. You know, when you say this car is smart, it really is. I noticed as you come to a light and stop the vehicle, after a few seconds, the vehicle will automatically shut off to conserve fuel consumption. It's really a neat feature, and one of the many reasons why these are getting such better gas mileage is they've thought of everything and not wasting fuel. If you're looking for an SUV that has style, for one, fuel efficiency, performance, and the ability to do just about anything under any weather conditions, I mean, you don't have to look much farther than the Jeep Cherokee 2019. Very, very solid competitor in the compact sport utility segment. Over 80 standard and available safety and security features ensure you take in all of the adventure and none of the worry. Available blind spot monitoring, Park Sense front and rear park assist, passive entry, keyless entry and go, and many more features equip the 2019 Jeep Cherokee with safety and security you can depend on.
Well, I got to drive the top of the line, the Jeep Cherokee Trailhawk Elite, and this is the top of the line. Now they make several different models of these, and we have almost 60 of these in inventory here in Eaton. Come out to SVG Eaton to drive some of these, and I think you're gonna really enjoy the way you feel driving the all-new 2019 Jeep Cherokee. Thanks for watching another episode of SVG Motors Weekly. And if you haven't done it yet, go to youtube.com and subscribe to the SVG Motors channel. Or go to our Facebook page and like our page. And last but not least, if you want to see future episodes, go to your DVR and search SVG Motors and catch future episodes. Thanks again for watching.